The darkness of space broke apart as the massive warship emerged from its jump. The vessel was enormous, nearly 2 kilometers of gray metal and weapons. Its name was painted in white letters along the side, Bekdu. Inside the command center, Captain Taemin sat in his chair and watched the screen show their new location. "Jump complete, Captain," said Jiwoo from her station. She was young, only 26, with sharp eyes that studied the alien text scrolling across her displays. "We are at the edge of the Vulcan system. Station Meridian 7 is directly ahead at 300,000 kilometers. Taemin nodded. He was a tall man with gray at his temples, 42 years old and calm under pressure. This was humanity's first military ship to come this far into alien space. 3 years ago, Earth had discovered they were not alone in the universe. Now here they were, meeting the galaxy for real. "Open a channel to the station," Taemin ordered. Jiwoo worked her controls. Static filled the speakers, then cleared. A strange clicking voice came through. "Unknown vessel, this is Station Meridian 7. You are entering neutral territory. Identify yourself immediately. This is Captain Taemin of the Republic of Korea Space Navy, commanding the warship Bekdu. We come in peace and request permission to dock for resupply." There was a long silence. Taemin could imagine the aliens on the station staring at their sensors, trying to understand what they were seeing. Finally, the voice returned, sounding nervous. "Captain Taemin, your vessel's energy signature is extremely high. We have never detected such readings from a ship your size. Please reduce your power output. You are frightening the civilian traffic." Hyunwoo, the weapons officer, looked up from his station. He was a broad-shouldered man with a serious face. "Captain, we're running at standard cruise power. If we reduce more, we'll lose maneuvering capability. Tell them this is our normal operation level," Taemin said to Jiwoo. She relayed the message. Another pause. "Understood, Bekdu, please. Please hold your position. Do not approach the station yet. We are clearing traffic." Through the main viewing screen, Taemin could see the station. It was a ring-shaped structure with ships of all shapes and sizes docked along its outer edge. Some looked like flowers, others like crystals or insects. None of them looked like human ships. Several were now moving away from the station quickly, their engines burning bright. "They're scared of us," said Sun-hee from the engineering station. She was a short woman with quick hands and a clever mind. "Our ship must look like a monster to them." "We haven't done anything aggressive," said Dong-hyun, the second in command. He stood beside Taemin's chair, arms crossed. "Why such fear?" "Because they can see our weapons," Hyunwoo said, pointing at his display. "I'm picking up dozens of scanning beams hitting our hull. They're trying to analyze our armaments. Captain, I think they've never seen railguns before, or our missile batteries, or our point defense lasers." Taemin understood. Earth had built the Bekdu and her sister ships for war. Real war. The kind humanity had practiced for thousands of years. These aliens, from what little Earth had learned, had been peaceful for centuries. They had probably forgotten what a true warship looked like. "Captain," Jiwoo's voice rose with urgency. "I'm receiving a distress signal. It's coming from Velkenfur, the mining colony in the inner system." "Put it through." The speakers crackled. A different voice, high-pitched and terrified. "This is Colony 7-9 on Velkenfur. We are under attack. Chromath vessels are firing on civilian transports. They're demanding our refined metals as tribute. Please, anyone, we need help." Taemin sat forward. "Chromath? Who are they?" "Checking our database," said Misun from the tactical station. She was a calm woman who rarely showed emotion. "The Chromath Dominion, a military empire. They control 12 systems. Known for raiding weaker colonies and demanding protection payments, their fleet is considered powerful by galactic standards." "How many ships at the colony?" Taemin asked. "Scanning now," Misun replied. "I count 12 Chromath cruisers, each approximately 400 meters long. They're surrounding the colony's orbital platforms and firing on ships trying to escape." "Captain," Dong-hyun said quietly, "we're not supposed to interfere. Our orders are to observe and learn, not engage in local conflicts." "Those are civilians being murdered," Hyunwoo growled. "Sir," Jiwoo said, "Station Meridian 7 is hailing us again. Answer them." The clicking voice returned, even more nervous than before. "Captain Taemin, we urge you to maintain your position. The Chromath fleet is not to be challenged. Their military power is vast. If you approach, they will destroy you. Please, for your own safety and ours, do not involve yourself." Taemin looked at his crew. Sun-hee met his eyes and nodded. Hyunwoo was already checking his weapons. Misun waited patiently. Jiwoo looked determined. Donghyun sighed but didn't argue. Jiwoo, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we are moving to assist civilians under attack. We will file a full report afterward. Yes, sir. Sun-hee, give me maximum power to engines and shields. Already done, Captain. Hyun-woo, bring weapons online but keep them powered down. We don't fire first, understood? Mi-sun, plot us a course to Velkan 4. Fastest route. Course ready, sir. J1, Taemin said to the pilot. Take us in. The young pilot, barely 23, gripped his controls. Yes, Captain. Here we go. The Baekdu turned. Her massive engines flared bright blue and she accelerated toward the inner system. Behind them, the station's communication channels filled with panicked chatter in a dozen alien languages. Ships scattered in all directions. No one wanted to be near the human warship. We'll reach the colony in 18 minutes at this speed, Mi-sun reported. Captain, I'm picking up communications from the Chromath fleet, Jiwoo said. They've detected us. They're laughing, sir. They're calling us a primitive toy and saying we should run back to our homeworld. Let them laugh, Taemin said calmly. Hyun-woo, what's the status of their shields? Their vessels use plasma-based shielding, effective against energy weapons. But Captain, I don't think they've encountered kinetic weapons before. Their shield frequency is all wrong for stopping physical projectiles. Good to know. Hi-sun, tactical assessment. The Chromath ships are arranged in a loose formation around the colony. They're not expecting resistance. Their weapons are charged but not locked onto any military targets. They're focused on terrorizing the civilian ships. 15 minutes to intercept, Jaewon announced. Taemin activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain. We are about to engage hostile forces that are attacking civilians. This will be humanity's first combat action against an alien species. We do not seek war, but we will not allow innocents to die when we have the power to stop it. Every person on this ship volunteered to explore the stars and protect Earth's interests. Today we protect more than just Earth. Battle stations. Taemin out. Alarms sounded throughout the ship. Crew members rushed to their positions. Bulkhead doors sealed. The Baekdu transformed from an explorer into a weapon. 10 minutes, Jaewon said. Through the viewing screen, Velkan 4 grew larger. It was a brown planet covered in mining operations. Around it, the Chromath ships looked like black sharks circling prey. Small civilian vessels tried to flee, but the Chromath fired warning shots that destroyed their engines. They're disabling escape ships, Mi-sun said. 4 civilian vessels destroyed in the last 3 minutes. 5 minutes to range. Captain, Jiwoo said softly. The station is broadcasting our approach to everyone in the sector. This battle will be watched across the galaxy. Taemin understood. Whatever happened in the next few minutes would define how the galaxy saw humanity. Would they see protectors or aggressors? Saviors or threats? 2 minutes, Jaewon announced. Hyun-woo, target their weapon systems. Disable if possible. Destroy if necessary. Targeting solutions locked. 1 minute. The Chromath ships finally turned to face them. Their weapons powered up, glowing red with energy. They're hailing us, Jiwoo said. Answer. A harsh voice filled the bridge, speaking broken English. Human ship, you are foolish. Turn away or be destroyed. The Chromath Dominion does not tolerate interference. Taemin stood from his chair. This is Captain Taemin of the Baekdu. You are attacking civilians in neutral space. Cease your assault immediately and withdraw or we will stop you. Laughter echoed through the speakers. 1 ship against 12? You are children playing with fire. Die knowing you were warned. The communication cut off. Red warnings flashed across every display. They're firing, Mi-sun shouted. Plasma bolts screamed toward the Baekdu. Hundreds of them, enough to vaporize a city. Brace for impact, Donghyun called out. The bridge lights flickered as the plasma struck their shields. Energy washed across the hull in waves of red and orange. The ship shuddered slightly, then the light faded. Damage reports scrolled across the displays. Sun-hee laughed in disbelief. Shields at 98. The Chromath war leader Vector stared at his displays in confusion. His fleet had just fired enough plasma to destroy a small moon. The human ship should be nothing but atoms and debris. Instead, it flew forward through the dissipating energy clouds, completely undamaged. What is that vessel made of? His second-in-command hissed. Vector had no answer. He had raided dozens of colonies across this sector. No one ever fought back. No one had ships that could survive such firepower. These humans were new to the galaxy. Barely 3 years since first contact. How did they have such technology? All ships concentrate fire on the human vessel. Destroy it now! On the bridge of the Bekdu, Captain Taman watched the Chromath fleet adjust their positions. All 12 ships were turning to face him now, their weapons charging for another volley. Behind them, the civilian ships from the colony were fleeing as fast as they could. Shields holding at 98%. Sun He reported. That plasma barrage barely scratched us. Their weapons are designed for ships with much weaker defenses. They're firing again, Misun said calmly. More plasma bolts filled the space between the fleets. They struck the Bekdu like angry insects hitting a windscreen. The shields absorbed the energy with ease. Inside the ship, the crew barely felt the impact. Return fire? Yunwu asked. His finger hovered over the weapons controls. One warning shot, Taman said. Target the lead ship. Disable their forward weapons array. Aye, Captain. Railgun 1 firing. The Bekdu had 6 railgun turrets along her spine. Each one could accelerate a metal slug to 30% of light speed. The kinetic energy contained in such a projectile was enormous. When the first railgun fired, there was no beam of light or glowing energy. Just a small flash as the slug left the barrel. 3 seconds later, the front section of the lead Chromath cruiser exploded. The metal projectile punched through their shields as if they didn't exist, then through their armor, then out the other side. Everything in its path simply ceased to exist. Atmosphere vented into space. Fires erupted across the ship's hull. The cruiser went dark and began to drift. Direct hit, Misun confirmed. Their forward section is completely destroyed. Life support failing. The ship is dead in space. There was silence on the bridge. Even though they had trained for this, even though they knew their weapons worked, seeing the result was different. One shot, one ship eliminated, Captain, Jiwoo said quietly. I'm receiving hundreds of communication requests from across the system. Everyone wants to know what we just did. Ignore them for now. Hyunwoo broadcast to the Chromath fleet. Tell them to surrender and withdraw. Jiwoo translated the message into the Chromath language and sent it. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then 2 of the Chromath ships turned and began to flee at maximum speed. 2 ships are running, Jaewon reported. Let them go, Taman said. They're no longer a threat, but the remaining 9 Chromath vessels did not retreat. Vector, humiliated and enraged, ordered his fleet forward. If these humans wanted a fight, he would give them one. His ships spread out trying to surround the Bekdu. They're attempting an encirclement, Misun said. Classic pack hunter tactics. Won't work, Donghyun muttered. We're faster than they are. Jaewon, move us toward the 3 ships on our left flank. Full speed. The pilot's hands flew across his controls. The Bekdu accelerated hard, pushing her engines to their limits. She was not a nimble ship, but she was powerful. The 3 Chromath cruisers on the left tried to scatter, but they were too slow. Hyunwoo railguns 2 and 3. Target their engine sections. Disable only. Firing. 2 more flashes. 2 more projectiles crossing space in heartbeats. The first slug hit a Chromath cruiser's engine block and tore it apart. The ship went dark immediately, losing all power. The second slug clipped the wing of another cruiser, ripping off its maneuvering thrusters. Both ships were now helpless, drifting in space. 3 more down, Misun confirmed. The remaining 7 Chromath ships closed in from all sides, firing continuously. Plasma bolts hammered the Bekdu from every angle. The bridge lights flickered as the shields absorbed the energy. Warning alarms sounded. Shields at 92%, Sun He called out. Still well within safe parameters. Captain, I'm detecting a power surge in the flagship, Misun said. They're charging some kind of heavy weapon. Identify it. Looks like a plasma lance, much more powerful than their standard guns. If it hits us directly, it could do real damage. Taman made a decision. Hyunwoo, target the flagship. Railgun 4. Aim for their weapon charging port. Locked and ready. Fire. The slug crossed the distance in less than 4 seconds. It struck the Chromath flagship exactly where the plasma lance was building its charge. The result was catastrophic. The lance's power core exploded, chain reacting through the ship's energy systems. The entire vessel tore itself apart from the inside. Escape pods shot out in all directions as the crew abandoned ship. Vector found himself floating in an escape pod, watching his flagship die. His fleet was broken. His reputation was destroyed. And the humans had barely tried. They had used only single shots, precise strikes meant to disable rather than kill. If they had wanted to destroy his entire fleet, they could have done it in seconds. The remaining 6 Chromath ships stopped firing. Their commanders were not stupid. They had seen enough. Captain, the hostile vessels are powering down weapons, Misun reported. They're broadcasting a surrender signal. Acknowledge their surrender, Taemin said. Jiwoo, contact the colony. See if they need medical assistance or supplies. While Jiwoo worked, Hyunwoo turned to face Taemin. Sir, we just defeated a fleet that this sector considered unbeatable, using less than 10% of our weapons capacity. What happens now? Now we help the people we saved, Taemin replied. After that, I suspect the galaxy will want to talk to us. He was correct. Within minutes, communication channels across 3 sectors lit up with chatter about the battle. Station Meridian 7 had broadcast everything. Every species with sensors in the region had watched. They had seen a single human warship arrive, take fire from 12 enemy vessels, and destroy or disable the entire fleet in under 8 minutes, with minimal effort. On Station Meridian 7, the insectoid controller named Tiksha watched the recordings again and again. She had lived for 40 years and worked on the station for 20. In all that time, she had never seen anything like this. The human ship moved with purpose and precision. Its weapons fired without dramatic displays of power, yet each shot was devastating. Its shields absorbed attacks that would have vaporized any other ship in the sector. Tiksha had always believed the old stories about violent species were myths, tales told to scare young ones. The galaxy had been peaceful for 200 years. Wars were expensive and wasteful. Conflicts were resolved through economic pressure or diplomatic negotiation. But humans were different. They came from a world where conflict never stopped. They had built their technology not for trade or exploration, but for survival against their own kind. When they reached for the stars, they brought weapons because that was all they knew. The Chromath had learned this lesson the hard way. Now the rest of the galaxy would learn it too. On the Baekdu, the crew worked to secure the battle site. Jaewon maneuvered the ship close to the disabled Chromath vessels to prevent them from reactivating their weapons. Sunhee sent repair drones to the damaged colony platforms. Jiwoo coordinated with colony officials to arrange emergency supplies. Mi-sun studied the tactical data from the battle. She compiled a report that would be sent back to Earth Command. The Chromath ships were not primitive, but they were not advanced either. Their shields were strong against energy weapons, but useless against kinetic strikes. Their armor was thick, but not thick enough. Their tactics assumed enemies would be afraid and retreat. They had never fought anyone who fought back. Captain, Dong-hyun said quietly, I've been thinking about what this means. We just proved to the entire galaxy that humanity can defeat their military forces with ease. That will make some species want to be our friends, but others will see us as a threat. I know, Taemin replied. But what choice did we have? Let those civilians die? No, you made the right call. I just hope Earth is ready for what comes next. The colony's gratitude poured in through every communication channel. Hundreds of messages thanking the Baekdu and her crew, offers of fuel, food, repairs, anything the humans needed. The colony administrator, a crystalline being named Kresh, personally hailed the ship. Captain Taemin, you have saved countless lives today. The Chromath have terrorized us for years. No one would stand against them. You are the first. We are forever grateful. We only did what was right, Taemin said. Perhaps, Kresh replied. But right is rare in this galaxy. Most species do what is safe or profitable. You chose differently. That makes you either very brave or very dangerous. I think perhaps both. As the Baekdu maintained her position over the colony, Earth Command responded to Taemin's report. The message was brief. Continue mission. Monitor galactic response. Prepare for diplomatic contacts. Well done. But there was an attachment. Intelligence reports showing activity across multiple sectors. The Chromath Dominion was mobilizing. 2 weeks after the battle at Velkan 4, the Galactic Concordance held an emergency session. The Concordance was not a government. It was more like a meeting place where 50 different species talked about problems and tried to find solutions without fighting. The chamber where they met was enormous, with seats designed for beings of all shapes and sizes. Young-soo sat in the human-designated area, feeling very small. He was Earth's first official representative to the Concordance, a former diplomat who had spent 30 years negotiating treaties between Earth nations. Now he negotiated between Earth and aliens. The job was much harder. Around him, representatives from dozens of species talked in worried voices. Some looked like birds, others like plants or crystals or things that had no Earth equivalent. All of them were talking about the same thing. The human warship. The Battle of Velkan 4, what it meant for the galaxy. The session leader, a tall being called a Treshkan with blue feathers and 4 arms, called for silence. We are here to discuss the incident at Velkan-Nafur. Representative Youngsu of Earth will explain his species' actions. Youngsu stood. He wore a simple suit and carried no weapons. He looked peaceful and harmless. That was intentional. After what the Bekdu had done, Earth needed to appear less threatening. Honored members, he began. The warship Bekdu encountered a situation where civilians were under attack. Our captain made a decision to intervene and protect innocent lives. We regret any concern this has caused, but we do not regret saving those people. A representative from the reptilian Skarn species spoke up. You destroyed or disabled an entire Chromath fleet with 1 ship. 1 ship, do you understand how terrifying that is? The Chromath have been a regional power for 300 years. You defeated them in minutes. We did not seek conflict, Youngsu replied calmly. We tried to negotiate. They fired first. We responded with the minimum force necessary to stop the attack. Minimum force? The Skarn hissed. You obliterated them! A gentle voice interrupted. It came from Delina, a representative of the Delphiri, an aquatic species known for their wisdom. Perhaps we should focus less on how the humans won, and more on why they fought at all. Most of us would have done nothing. We would have recorded the incident and filed a complaint with the Chromath government. The humans saved lives. Is that not worthy of respect? It is also worthy of fear, the Treshkan leader said. Representative Youngsu, your species has been part of the galactic community for only 3 years. You have shown no interest in expansion or aggression, yet you possess military technology far beyond what any of us use. Why Youngsu had prepared for this question? Because Earth has known nothing but conflict for most of its history. We have fought each other for thousands of years. We built weapons not to conquer others, but to survive against ourselves. When we discovered faster-than-light travel, we brought those weapons with us because we did not know what we would find in space. Now we know we are not alone, and now you know we can defend ourselves. And defend others, it seems, Delina added. The colony at Velkan-4 has been broadcasting messages of gratitude across 3 sectors. They call the humans saviors, heroes. This has created interesting political pressure. She was right. In the 2 weeks since the battle, dozens of smaller colonies and independent stations had sent messages to Earth. Some asked for protection. Others asked for trade agreements. A few even asked to join Earth's sphere of influence. The galaxy was reacting in ways no one had predicted, but not everyone was pleased. The Treshkan leader spread her wings in a gesture of frustration. I propose economic sanctions against Earth until they agree to limit their military capabilities. Their warships are too powerful. They destabilize the balance of power we have maintained for 2 centuries. Sanctions? Youngsu asked. For stopping a massacre? For having the ability to commit a massacre, the Treshkan replied coldly. What stops you from deciding that we are a threat? What stops your warships from demanding tribute from our worlds? The Chromath started as defenders too. Then they became raiders. Youngsu wanted to argue, but he understood her fear. The galaxy had been peaceful because everyone was roughly equal in strength. No one species could dominate the others. Now humanity had upset that balance. They had shown they possessed overwhelming force. Fear was a natural response. Delina spoke again before Youngsu could answer. I propose the opposite. Earth has proven they can fight. Perhaps they should join our defensive agreements. The Concordance has lacked enforcement power for too long. Pirates and raiders operate freely because we cannot stop them. The humans can. You want to turn them into our military arm? The Skarn representative asked. I want to turn them into our friends, Delina replied. Better to have such power as an ally than an enemy. The debate continued for hours. Youngsu sat through it all, answering questions and defending Earth's actions. By the end of the session, nothing was decided. The Concordance voted to continue discussions at a later date. Youngsu knew that meant they were too afraid to make any choice at all. After the session, Delina approached Youngsu privately. She moved in a floating tank of water, her translation device turning her whistles and clicks into speech. Representative Youngsu, I wanted to speak with you away from the others. Many species here are frightened of your people, but some of us see opportunity. The galaxy is not as peaceful as it pretends to be. There are threats the Concordance does not discuss in public. What kind of threats? Youngsu asked. Ancient ones. Dangers from the early days of galactic civilization. Things we locked away in dark space and hoped would never return. But there are signs they are stirring. If that happens, we will need someone who knows how to fight. Your species may be our best hope. Before Young Su could ask more, Delina departed. He stood alone in the empty chamber, wondering what secrets the galaxy was hiding. Meanwhile, the Bakdu remained in the Velkan system, following orders to stay as a deterrent against further Chromath aggression. The crew had settled into a routine: patrols, maintenance, training exercises, but there was a tension in the air. They knew they were being watched. Jiwoo spent her time studying the communication traffic passing through the sector. She was fluent in 7 alien languages now, working toward an 8th. What she heard in those messages worried her. Some species praised humanity, others feared them. A few openly discussed ways to neutralize the human threat before it grew larger. "We've become a problem," she said to Taemin one evening in the officers' mess. "Not because of what we did, but because of what we could do." "I know," Taemin replied. He looked tired. Command was weighing on him. "But what choice did we have? We couldn't watch people die. I'm not saying you were wrong. I'm saying the galaxy doesn't think like we do. They see violence as something ancient, something their ancestors left behind. We remind them that violence still exists. They don't like that." Sun Hee joined them, carrying a cup of coffee. "I've been analyzing the Chromath ships we disabled. Their technology is interesting. Not bad, just different. They never developed kinetic weapons because energy shields were so common. Why build guns that fire metal when everyone's shields stop physical objects?" "But their shields don't stop physical objects," Jiwoo said. "Exactly. Because no one in this sector uses kinetic weapons anymore. They forgot how to defend against them. We didn't forget because we never stopped fighting each other." It was a sobering thought. Humanity's advantage came from their inability to stop killing themselves. War had driven their technology forward while other species had stagnated in peace. Boram, the science officer, entered the mess with a data pad. "Captain, I've completed my analysis of the Galactic Technology database. I wanted to show you something troubling." She displayed a series of charts and graphs. "This shows the rate of technological advancement across the major galactic species over the past 1,000 years. Notice anything?" Taemin studied the data. "It's almost flat. They've barely advanced at all." "Correct. Peace is wonderful for quality of life, but terrible for innovation. Without pressure to improve, without competition or conflict, they've been coasting on ancient technology. Some of their systems are 800 years old with only minor updates." "And Earth?" Jiwoo asked. "Earth's advancement curve looks like a vertical line compared to theirs. We've gone from chemical rockets to faster-than-light drives in less than 200 years. Our weapons, shields, power systems, everything is generations ahead of the galactic average. So we're not just different," Sun Hee said. "We're better armed because we never stopped preparing for war." "Exactly," Boram confirmed. Hyunwoo arrived late, having finished his shift on the bridge. He grabbed food and sat down heavily. "I just got a message from Earth Command. The Chromath Dominion has declared humanity an enemy species. They're assembling something called the Grand Fleet, 97 ships, including their flagship dreadnought." The table went silent. Taemin set down his cup slowly. "Where are they heading?" "The Telesh system. It's on the border of their territory. Earth has a small outpost there, just a research station with a dozen scientists. The Chromath are going to attack it as revenge for Velkan 4. "When?" Taemin asked. 3 weeks, maybe less. Earth Command says reinforcements are being scrambled, but the nearest battle group is 6WW. The Bekdu arrived at the Telesh system 3 days before the Chromath Grand Fleet was expected. The system was quiet and unremarkable, home to a single gas giant with a research station on one of its moons. 12 human scientists studied exotic particles in the planet's atmosphere. They had no weapons and no way to defend themselves. Captain Taemin stood on the bridge and watched the station through the viewing screen. It looked so small and fragile. His ship was there to protect it, but he knew the odds. 97 enemy ships against 1. The math was simple and brutal. "The research team is packing up," Jiwoo reported. "They're loading their data and preparing to evacuate. They say they'll need 48 hours to properly shut down their equipment." "They don't have 48 hours, Donghyun said. "Long-range sensors show the Chromath fleet is ahead of schedule. They'll be here in 36 hours. "Then the scientists work faster," Taemin said. "We bought them time at Velkan 4. We'll buy them time here too." He called a meeting of his senior officers in the briefing room. They gathered around a holographic display showing the Telesh system. Taemin pulled up the tactical data they had on the Chromath Grand Fleet. 97 ships, he began. Mostly cruisers like the ones we fought before. But they also have 20 frigates, 10 heavy cruisers, and their flagship dreadnought, the Eternal Dominion. It's twice the size of any ship we've encountered. Intelligence says it has shields strong enough to withstand our railguns. Nothing is strong enough to withstand our railguns, Hyunwoo said confidently. It just means we'll need to hit it more than once. The problem isn't whether we can hurt them, Mi-sun said, studying the display. The problem is numbers. We can't be in 97 places at once. While we're shooting at one target, the others will be shooting at us. Eventually, our shields will fail. How long can we last? Taemin asked. Sun-hee ran calculations on her datapad. If they coordinate their fire properly, maybe 20 minutes. If they're disorganized, maybe an hour. But Captain, that's not enough time for the scientists to evacuate and escape to safe jump distance. Then we don't fight them in orbit, Taemin said. We fight them here. He pointed to a location at the edge of the system. We engage them as soon as they exit their jump. Hit them before they can form up, cause chaos and confusion. Keep them focused on us instead of the station. That might work, Mi-sun said slowly. If we can scatter their formation, they'll waste time reorganizing. Military fleets don't react well to unexpected tactics, and we'll be using very unexpected tactics, Hyunwoo added with a grim smile. Jae-won, the pilot, leaned forward. Captain, if we're going to dance with 97 partners, I need to push the engines past their rated limits. Sun-hee, can we do that without exploding? I can give you 20% over standard, Sun-hee replied. For maybe 40 minutes before we start having serious problems. Good enough, Jae-won said. There's one more thing, Taemin said quietly. This is going to be dangerous. More dangerous than anything we've done before. So I'm giving everyone a choice. Anyone who wants to evacuate with the research team can do so. No shame, no judgment. You'll be taken off duty and returned to Earth. Speak up now if you want to leave. The room was silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Taemin looked at each officer in turn. They all met his eyes with the same expression. Determination. All right then, Taemin said. Let's get to work. The next 36 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Sun-hee and her engineering team worked around the clock, optimizing every system on the ship. They rerouted power, reinforced shield generators, and loaded every missile tube to capacity. Hyunwoo ran combat drills until his weapons teams could load and fire in their sleep. Mi-sun plotted firing solutions for hundreds of different scenarios. Ji-woo recorded messages to be sent to Earth in case they didn't survive. Taemin walked through the ship talking to the crew. He saw no fear in their faces. They were young, most of them. The oldest was barely 35. They had joined the Space Navy to explore the stars and meet aliens. Now they were about to fight a war, but not one of them complained. They trusted their captain. They trusted their ship. They trusted each other. The research scientists evacuated 24 hours before the Chromath were expected. Their small transport ship jumped away, carrying years of research and 12 grateful people. The Baekdu was alone in the Telesh system now. One ship. One crew, waiting. They're here, Mi-sun announced. Chromath fleet entering the system. Distance 300,000 kilometers. All hands, battle stations, Taemin ordered. Jae-won, take us in. Maximum combat speed. The Baekdu surged forward, her engines burning at 120% power. The enemy fleet appeared on the screens, a massive wall of ships exiting their jump. They were arranged in a standard formation, a curved line designed to encircle and overwhelm any opposition. They're not expecting us, Mi-sun said. Their weapons are powered down. They thought they'd arrive unopposed. Let's teach them otherwise, Taemin said. Hyunwoo, open fire. Target the ships on the outer edge. Maximum rate of fire. All 6 railguns fired in rapid sequence. Boom, boom, boom. The ship shuddered with each shot. 6 metal slugs crossed space in seconds. 6 Chromath cruisers exploded, their hulls torn apart by kinetic impacts they never saw coming. 6 confirmed kills, Mi-sun reported. The fleet is scattering. They're trying to reform. Don't let them, Taemin ordered. Jae-won, take us through the middle of their formation. Hyunwoo, fire at will. The Baekdu dove into the heart of the enemy fleet. It was a suicidal move by conventional tactics. But conventional tactics assumed ships were fragile and needed to keep distance. The Baekdu was neither fragile nor afraid. Jae-won's hands danced across his controls. The massive warship spun and twisted like a fighter craft. She was not designed for such maneuvers, but Jae-won made it work through sheer skill and audacity. The ship rolled, dodged, and weaved between enemy vessels. Hyunwoo fired constantly. Railguns, missiles, point defense lasers. Every weapon on the ship was active. Chromath cruisers exploded one after another. Frigates were cut in half. Heavy cruisers lost engines, weapons, and whole sections of hull. The enemy fleet finally started fighting back. Plasma bolts filled space, thousands of them, all converging on the Baekdu. The shields flared bright as they absorbed the impacts. Alarms wailed across the bridge. Shields at 70%, Sun-hee called out. Holding steady. Temperature rising in Reactor 3, one of her engineers reported. We're pushing too hard. Keep pushing, Sun-hee replied. I'll hold her together. Taemin watched the battle display. They had destroyed 32 enemy ships in the first 10 minutes. The Chromath fleet was in chaos, trying to coordinate while under constant attack. But they were adapting. The smaller ships were forming groups, concentrating their fire. The heavy cruisers were moving to surround the Baekdu. Captain, the flagship is moving, Misun said. The Eternal Dominion is heading straight for us. The Chromath dreadnought was massive, 1 kilometer long and bristling with weapons. It pushed through its own fleet, ignoring the smaller ships. Its commander wanted the human ship destroyed, and he was going to do it personally. That's the war leader's ship, Jiwoo said. He's challenging us directly. Then we accept, Taemin replied. Jae-won, give me a clear shot. Hyunwoo, load Torpedo 1. High-yield fusion warhead. Fusion warhead loaded and ready. The Baekdu turned to face the dreadnought. For a moment, the two ships rushed toward each other, weapons charging. It was like an ancient duel, 2 warriors meeting on a battlefield. Fire, Taemin said calmly. The torpedo launched. It was not fast like a railgun slug. It was a small ship itself with engines and guidance systems. The Chromath point defense systems tried to shoot it down, but the torpedo was too well armored and too agile. It dodged the plasma bolts and kept coming. The Eternal Dominion fired everything it had at the Baekdu. Heavy plasma cannons, missiles, energy beams. The human ship's shields dropped to 40%. Warning alarms screamed. Then the torpedo struck the dreadnought's hull. For a fraction of a second, nothing happened. Then the fusion warhead detonated. A miniature sun appeared in space. The explosion was so bright that the bridge screens automatically dimmed. When the light faded, the Eternal Dominion was gone. Just debris and escape pods tumbling through space. The Chromath fleet stopped fighting. Their flagship was destroyed. Their war leader was dead or fleeing in an escape pod. They had come with 97 ships to destroy 1 human vessel. Now they had 50 ships left, and the human ship was still fighting. They're retreating, Misun announced. All remaining ships are breaking formation and jumping away. Taemin let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Ceasefire. Damage report. Shields at 32% and regenerating, Sun-hee said. We have minor hull damage on decks 4 and 7. Reactor 3 is running hot but stable. No casualties. We're still operational. Around the bridge, the crew sat in stunned silence. They had just fought an armada and won. 1 ship against 97. It seemed impossible, but the proof was floating around them in the form of debris from dozens of destroyed enemy vessels. Captain, Jiwoo said softly, every sensor in 3 sectors just watched this battle. I'm receiving thousands of communication requests. 3 months after the Battle of Telesh, Captain Taemin stood in front of the United Earth government in Geneva. The building was old by space-age standards, with marble floors and tall windows that let in natural light. He wore his dress uniform with newly added medals across his chest. Behind him stood his senior officers, Dong-hyun, Jiwoo, Hyunwoo, Sun-hee, and Misun. They were heroes now, famous across Earth and beyond. Chancellor Soo-jin, the elected leader of Earth's government, smiled at them from her desk. She was a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and a calm manner. Captain Taemin, your crew performed remarkably. You defended our interests, saved civilian lives, and demonstrated Earth's capabilities to the galaxy. We are proud of you. Thank you, Chancellor, Taemin replied. But I need to be honest with you. What we did has consequences. The galaxy is afraid of us now. Some species want to be our allies. Others want to destroy us before we become too powerful. We've changed the balance of power, and I'm not sure that's a good thing. Soo-jin nodded. Representative Young-soo has told me the same thing. The Galactic Concordance is divided. Some want to welcome us. Others want to contain us. And there's something else, isn't there? Something they haven't told the public. Yes, Chancellor. Young-Soo said, stepping forward. He had aged in the past months, stress adding gray to his hair. The Concordance leadership has shared classified information with me. There's a threat they've been hiding from their populations, something called the Voidborn. Tell us, Sujin said. Young-Soo activated a holographic display. It showed a star map with a dark region marked at the edge of known space. 10,000 years ago, the galaxy was home to many advanced civilizations. Then something appeared from dark space. A machine intelligence called the Voidborn. They consumed 3 entire species, converting their worlds into more machines. The surviving species united and fought back. After centuries of war, they pushed the Voidborn into dark space and sealed them there. But now they're returning, Admiral Chang-wook said. He was the head of Earth's Space Navy, a military man with decades of experience. How long do we have? Unknown, Young-Soo replied. But the Concordance is detecting signals from dark space. Probes sent to investigate have not returned. They believe the Voidborn are testing the borders, preparing for a new invasion. And they want our help, Sujin guessed. Yes, the modern galactic species are peaceful. They've forgotten how to fight real wars. Their technology has stagnated. But humanity is different. We've never stopped fighting. We have weapons they can't imagine and tactics they've never seen. They need us. The room was silent for a moment. Sujin looked at each person present, reading their faces. What do you all think? Should Earth get involved in this? We should, Jiwoo said immediately. If the Voidborn are real and they're coming back, they won't stop at the galactic borders. Eventually they'll reach Earth. Better to fight them with allies than alone. Agreed, Donghyun added. But we should set terms. We join their defense, but we don't become their servants. We're partners, not weapons for hire. Admiral Chang-wook spoke next. The Baekdu proved our capabilities. But she's just one ship. If we're going to fight a galactic threat, we need more vessels. The shipyards are building 12 more warships right now. In 6 months, we'll have a proper fleet. The galaxy will see that as aggressive expansion, Young-Soo warned. Let them, Chang-wook replied. After Telesh, no one will dare attack us. Fear is a powerful deterrent. Fear can also breed hatred, Sujin said quietly. Captain Taemin, you've been out there. You've met these species. What's your assessment? Taemin thought carefully before answering. Chancellor, the aliens are not so different from us. They want safety, prosperity, and peace. They're afraid because they don't understand us. We need to show them we're not conquerors. We're protectors. If this Voidborn threat is real, we should help. But we do it our way, with our values. Sujin made her decision. Earth will join the coalition against the Voidborn, but only if the Concordance accepts us as equals. We won't be junior partners or mercenaries. We contribute our strength, they contribute their knowledge. Together we face this threat. Young-Soo bowed. I'll deliver those terms at the next Concordance session. The meeting ended and the officers were dismissed. As they left the building, Jiwoo walked beside Taemin. Do you think we're making the right choice? Getting involved in their war? I don't know, Taemin admitted. But I know we can't hide from the universe. If there's a threat out there, we face it. That's who we are. 2 months later, the Galactic Concordance accepted Earth's terms. A formal alliance was created, with humanity as a full member. The Baekdu and her 12 sister ships formed the first contact fleet, with Taemin promoted to fleet commander. The fleet assembled in orbit above Earth, a show of power and readiness. Each ship was painted gray with Earth's flag on the hull. They were identical in design, each one capable of defeating an entire enemy fleet alone. When the galaxy saw them together, fear turned to awe, but not everyone was pleased. In a dark sector far from Earth, representatives from several hostile species met in secret. They had watched humanity rise too quickly. They had seen the battle recordings. They knew that if humanity was not stopped now, they would dominate the galaxy within decades. These species began planning. They would not attack Earth directly. That would be suicide. Instead, they would manipulate events, turn other species against humanity, create situations where Earth would be forced to show its true nature. They would prove that humans were dangerous, violent, and unfit for the galaxy, but those plans would take time. For now, humanity prepared for the real threat. The first contact fleet jumped to the Abyss Nebula, a region of space at the edge of the galaxy. This was where the Voidborn signals were strongest. The Concordance had assembled a multi-species defense fleet there, hundreds of ships from dozens of worlds. They waited nervously for the humans to arrive. When the first contact fleet exited their jump, the alien ships reacted with surprise. The human vessels were huge and heavily armed. They moved with precision, taking up defensive positions without being asked. Their energy signatures made even the largest alien dreadnoughts look weak. Taemin stood on the bridge of the Baekdu, now the flagship of his fleet. Around him, his crew worked efficiently. They had trained for months. They were ready. All ships report ready status, Donghyun reported. He was now Taemin's second in command for the entire fleet. Good, Taemin said. Open a channel to the Allied fleet. Jiwoo worked her controls. Channel open, Commander. This is Fleet Commander Taemin of the Earth Navy. We're here to stand with you against the Voidborn threat. Together we'll defend this galaxy. Together, we'll show the darkness that the light still burns. Cheers erupted across the communication channels. The alien species who had been afraid of humanity weeks ago now welcomed them as saviors. It was a strange feeling for Taemin. Fear had turned to hope. Violence had led to alliance. 3 days later, the Voidborn arrived. They emerged from dark space in massive ships that looked like geometric nightmares. Black metal twisted into impossible shapes powered by technology no one understood. There were hundreds of them and more kept coming. The Allied fleet prepared for battle. But everyone knew the truth. Most of them would not survive. The Voidborn had destroyed civilizations. They were death itself, cold and unstoppable. Then the first contact fleet moved forward. Taemin gave the order and 13 human warships accelerated toward the enemy. They did not wait for the others. They did not ask for support. They simply attacked. The Voidborn opened fire with energy weapons that could melt planets. The human shields absorbed the attacks. The Voidborn launched missiles that could track targets across star systems. The human point defense systems destroyed them all. The Voidborn tried to hack the human computers. Sunhee's virus hit them back, disrupting their networks. Hyunwoo fired railguns at maximum rate. Misun coordinated targeting across all 13 ships. Jaewon flew the Baekdu like she was dancing. The other ships followed his lead, moving as one unit. The battle was brutal. Unlike the Chromath, the Voidborn felt no fear. They were machines, cold and logical. They adapted quickly, learning from each attack. They coordinated perfectly, each ship supporting the others. But humanity had something the Voidborn couldn't understand. Creativity, unpredictability, the willingness to take insane risks. Taemin ordered maneuvers that made no tactical sense. He fired at targets that seemed useless. He retreated when he should attack and attacked when he should retreat. The Voidborn couldn't predict it. Their logic failed against human chaos. One by one, the machine ships fell. They were destroyed or disabled. Their networks crashed by Sunhee's virus, their hulls torn apart by railgun fire. The Allied fleet watched in amazement. The humans were winning. 13 ships against hundreds, and the humans were winning. After 6 hours of combat, the Voidborn retreated back into dark space. They had lost half their force. The humans had lost nothing. Oh, the ships were damaged. Shields were failing. Weapons were overheated and crews were exhausted. But every human ship was still operational. The Allied fleet erupted in celebration. They had won. The galaxy had won. And they had won because of humanity. Taemin sat in his captain's chair exhausted.